Coming up April 13th, Proving Ground Pro has the Buckley Cup, and last year KLD won the Buckley Cup. And KLD went on to become the PGP franchise champion. Well, this year at the Buckley Cup, the PGP franchise champion has no challenger. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up, I'm gonna offer the open challenge. Whoever wants to step up to the franchise champ, I'll see you April 13th at PGP in the Buckley Cup.
Welcome, Proving Ground Pro fans. We're in the back of the Burgess Center like we came to you last year. We hear a ruckus crowd from 0-1 in the background. We had a Buckley Cup qualifier night, Craig Mitchell versus Cody Lane. What an amazing match. But what you saw prior to this was what we're here to talk about. We got a little problem. We filmed that promo, that video, hoping to have an open challenge at the Buckley Cup for the PGP franchise title. Did we not, boys?
Absolutely.
So that was the plan. You guys got to see the plan. Kevin Lee Davidson has ran through everyone, ready to defend his title at this year's Buckley Cup, but that's not what fate had in the cards. Kevin suffered an injury.
One broken arm later, and we are out a champ.
That's what we're here to talk about. Jimmy, I think that's what we're here to talk about.
That's what we're here to talk
That's the memo I got.
So our franchise champ, KLD, has relinquished the belt due to injury. He does not have a date set for a return yet. We will find out in the future. In the meanwhile, we have a franchise title that needs to be filled, and it will be filled at the Buckley.
So, how we're going to do that is, well, we had a couple different ways we could have done it. We could have put it on the line in the Buckley Cup, which we've done in the past when the title had to be vacated, when Jake Durden signed his contract. This time, we were thinking something a little different. We wanted to give guys that we felt like had that moment last year and they were that close, and they're on the cusp of becoming the next PGP franchise title. Guys that we thought were contenders, guys that we thought might open or answer that open challenge. Is that what we're here, right?
That's right.
So, that being said, we sat down and we talked about it in our offices.
AKA my garage.
That's right.
Beer.
Had a lot of
Pickled
beer.
nickel.
A lot of beer.
A lot of beer. We called the champ. He understood that we had to vacate the title. You know, we wish him the best of luck in his recovery. We want him to get back quick, and he knows that his home is here in PGP, and he's welcome back as soon as he's healthy. And I mean, honestly, he's going to be right there in contention. But this is the proving ground. So if you relinquish that belt, you may not be at the top of the list like you think, but these guys are. And so we each kind of brought some guys to the table and had an argument and made a case for different guys. And we came up with a solution. It's going to be a multi-man match, 4 competitors, 1 night, elimination rules. The winner of the match, new PGP franchise champion. That's right. They will become the new PGP franchise champion. They will claim the vacated title.
This is a huge addition to the already stacked field of the Ryan Buckley Memorial Tournament. And with no further ado, I guess we might as well get down to who the 4 contenders are gonna be.
Well, Brady, you made the case for 1 man. I made the case for a man. Jimmy brought up a pretty good point. And quite frankly, the champion made a really good point too. But my point was heard, and the guy that I had to throw his name in the hat had only lost like 1 time in 2 years. And that was to Kevin Lee Davidson at this year's emergency response. Baracus is an absolute beast, and probably the top contender in PGP in my eyes. So I had to throw his name in the hat, and you guys tend to agree. So
I think he's
the monster Baracus is the first one in the 4-way elimination match to crown a new PGP franchise champion. But Jimmy also made a valid point, because Jimmy likes to think about the fans. Because he is a fan. He's not just a camera guy. He's not just a social media guy. He's not just our buddy Jimmy D. He's a fan of professional wrestling. And he's got his ear to the streets. Jimmy brought a guy to the table. And, well, Jimmy,
Well, I know Brady likes to say that professional wrestling is a big man's game, and Jessie, they don't get any bigger than Baracus. But what about the guy with the biggest setup, the biggest heart in PGP? I'm talking about former Cutting Edge champion Jake Lander.
So, yeah, that's right. Jake Lander, he's added to that 4-way elimination. He gets a shot at the franchise title. How could we deny the fans when Jimmy made a really good point? But
What I brought to the table
was
I thought
credibility.
ability, credibility, resume, professionalism. That is the ice pick, Vic Capri, returning to the proving ground, potentially our next franchise champion.
We definitely couldn't argue that point. I mean, living legend. Took KLD to the limit before he won the title. I mean, if there was another contender out there, wouldn't you want somebody as credible as the ice pick Vic Capri?
Any top name in professional
And last
wrestling
but not least,
has been in the ring.
The fourth guy. The guy that, well, our franchise champion, well, former franchise champion now, Kevin Lee Davison brought to the table. A guy that likes to call himself the franchise already, Mr. PGP, Danny Adams. And we had to think long and hard about this. But when we looked at his win-loss record, yeah, he had a couple bad losses. But he had some really big wins last year. One over a former franchise champion in Rough Crossing. That's more than makes him credible. Not to mention, the champ's throwing his name in the hat because he knows how good he is. So,
with that said, there's your 4 men. You will have Baracus versus Jake Lander versus Vic Capri versus Danny Adams. 4-way elimination. Winner is the new PGP franchise champion.
April 13th.
Petersburg, Illinois, Firehouse, baby.
Be there. Don't miss it or you'll regret it.